creator of the N64's 1080 snowboarding, is hitting the slopes again with Carve Snowboarding out on the Oculus Quest. Here's our review straight from the VR Gamescast.
Carve Snowboarding, kind of in the name, snowboarding game, kind of like two different modes across 6 levels. One of them is like racking up points as you do like stunts and tricks and whatnot, grinds and what have you. And the other one is kind of a time attack mode where get down the level as fast as possible. So what you do in the game is you kind of stand side on, as you'd expect, being on a snowboard. You use your hands to kind of steer. They are at either side of you, and then you can like raise your front hand to control one side of the board, raise your back hand to control the other side of the board, and then use that to kind of navigate through the level. And then to jump, you pull your hands up, and the higher you pull them up, the higher you'll jump. To do tricks, you use the touch grab button to grab different parts of the board depending on where your hands are. So let's say if you just hold the very back of the board, you do a tail jump thing.
Can you do a grind thingy?
Yeah, basically, I'm not down with the children on this one.
Oh, you can do truck driving.
Truck driving, squirrel,
cheeseboard, no, sandwich, chicken salad.
Chicken salad. Well done. Very good. Very good. We're so cool. You can hold the quest triggers as well to kind of spin so that you do, like flips and whatnot while you're out in the air. All of that, I've explained it. All of it sounds quite heavy, and it is heavy to learn. It took me a good couple of hours before I really, really felt comfortable with the game, like getting in the kind of cornering, which is hard to do at first, making sure I was doing the right kind of jumps. All of that is really, really hard to learn. It's not just an SSX, bunch of button presses as you do a million different kind of moves as you're in midair because you're just pressing all the different buttons. It's not that game whatsoever. But if you stick with it, and you do need to stick with it, I found it to be really, really, really rewarding, very authentic and natural to play. And the best thing I've been saying about it to people since I've been reviewing it is that weirdly, the game doesn't have like a glossary of tricks. It doesn't have a menu where it tells you how to do each trick. But some of the objectives in the scoring levels are do a certain trick. So I just went onto YouTube and I just checked what the trick was. I watched different people doing it where they grabbed the board, how they jumped if they did a flip or whatnot. And then I went back and did that in the game and it worked. And how cool is that at the end of the day that like it's completely unheard of that I just in a video game was able to go and look on YouTube at what the real life thing you do is and then mimic that in VR. And that's how I progressed in the game. I just find that completely mind blowing. So having said that, it's not like even if you master the controls, it never feels quite perfect because you don't have a tactile sensation of where you grab the board, and because you're also steering your direction with your hands, it's kind of hard sometimes to like know where you're going to grab the board, and then not like accidentally veer off to a different direction than you want to go. But once you start getting used to it and you start getting, you develop patterns and routines as you go down the hills, and the levels are great, big diverging things with different paths. Really, really fun to explore each and every one of them. You develop a routine, you get into a zone, you're clicking restart and going back to the top of the mountain every time you miss a trick. And the grinding feels great, the jumping feels great. And the sense of speed feels really, really, really great. And like once you get good at turning and like weaving through rocks and like ducking under branches, all of that stuff feels really, really good. I ended up, my first kind of hour or two of it was like, I don't know how this is going. I'm not really getting a hang of it. I don't know if this is just one of those things where it's a complete mess and they just shot it out there because they spent so much time and money on it. They had to. But the more I learned and the more I got used to it, I just started having an absolute blast of it. So yeah, I went with a 4 out of 5. It's got, like I said at the start, 6 mountains, but then there's unlockable boards that have different stats. So if you're struggling with like maybe doing like the tricks on one different level, you could go try and unlock a board that will do better tricks or it spins faster or whatnot, so that you can do more elaborate stuff down the hill. Or if you're struggling with the time attack mode, you can find different boards that work better on different surfaces and whatnot, and that helps you get along with it. And then you can also unlock different music tracks and gloves just by finding tokens on levels, which equates to probably about, well, I so far I've spent about I would say I've probably spent about 4, maybe 5 hours with it. And I've unlocked 4 of the 6 levels. I'm unlocking them faster now because I'm actually better at the game now. But I think
no need to brag.
But so I'm better at it now. So I'm unlocking stuff faster. But you will spend a lot of time learning how to play it. And yeah, I just think it's really, really good. And I was not expecting to think it was really, really good. So it's a nice surprise, this one.
That was our review of Carve Snowboarding, available now on the Oculus Quest. You can read our full review over at UploadVR.com and join us every Thursday from 10 a.m. PT for the VR Gamescast.